Hi guys and welcome. I am Enigmius and this is episode 2 of the Ultimate Feed the Beast Reloaded. Today we're continuing doing a little bit of digging, a little bit of building, a little bit of planning. We're actually everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It should be good. Should be kind of interesting. You can see here I've learned how to use the Vajra to clear 2 blocks at a time. I started the job of raising the ceiling in our mountain facility. Doing it with the mining laser was no longer really viable unless I wanted to use up all the energy in my gravisuit chest plate to fly around. So I decided to try it this way. It actually works really well. Unlike a lot of the stuff that we'll be doing for build-wise with this series, this isn't time-lapse, this is real time, just walking at normal speed. It's just a matter of getting the tool on the right angle and walking. 2 blocks at a time. Makes it, to be completely honest, this is the kind of thing that I'm always looking to automate or come up with at least a new way to do it. Otherwise, I just get really bored and I don't want to do it anymore. So hooray for the Vajra doing what it's supposed to do. Very, very expensive in terms of energy consumption. You can actually see my energy level in the top left-hand corner there, kind of going down a little bit faster than I might like, but we're fine. Now, what we're talking about today is blulectric power, specifically planning to get our blulectric kinetic generators online, or at least get that process in motion, which means we have to look at the big picture. We need to look at, first of all, what we need by way of materials to get that whole thing set up, where we're going to set it up and why, how we're going to get the energy from where it's generated to where we want to use it, and whether or not we can do it with what we've got, or do we need to invest in some more infrastructure. Now, one of the things that I realized very, very early on in the planning process is that I was going to need a lot of string to make the canvas for the wind turbines. So I quit digging away at the ceiling and decided to get a bit of a farm set up. Now, I'm not big on farming in Minecraft. I never have been. I kind of do it when I have a need for a particular material. In this case, I need flax for string. There have been times when I needed, flax seeds for flax oil to make paint, things of that nature. So here, I'm kind of being extremely lazy and taking advantage of the fact that I've got a swamp out my back door, so that I don't have to make any buckets to create the water source blocks that will provide the farm with irrigation. So that's basically what I'm doing, is just going around with dirt that I have left over from the excavation process and creating this sort of farm area. You can see in the back there, or at least at the top of the dirt area, I've got sand that I'll be using for sugarcane. Not that with Mistcraft changing the way that they're handling the pages and all that other stuff, I don't anticipate a tremendous need for sugarcane or paper or anything of that nature, but I had the sand there, I had the water there, figured I might as well. It doesn't take long to set it up, especially since I don't have to tote buckets of water around. And then once I've got it in place, it's actually a really, really simple process. You get flax seeds the same way you get any other seed, by punching grass. If you really, really, really hate punching grass, you can go diving around in dungeons hoping to find a chest that has flax seeds in it. But in this case, I punched some grass, I prepared the ground for planting, I put the seeds in, I got some bone meal, forced the seeds to grow, gathered up the seeds in the string, and then I decided that I wanted to do an experiment. In 30 seconds or less, how could I demonstrate how quickly a flax farm will grow? Now, just cut to the chase. I'll let you watch it in case, there's any incredulous kind of, did he make a mistake when he said this? You get about 4 seeds from every flax plant, and you get about 3 string, I would say, just going off the top of my head. So between 3 and 4 seeds and 3 and 4 string per flax plant. And you can see I'm expanding the farm now with the seeds that I got from that little patch that I boosted with bone meal and harvested at the beginning of this little segment. So it doesn't take long at all to get a flax farm up and running, which is awesome because we'll need it. Now, you had to know that we weren't going to do an entire episode on how to plant flax and chop blocks out of the ceiling. So we're down here in the basement, if you want to call it that. This is sort of the far end of the facility. Started excavating, mostly for materials, but also it's nice to have a big open area to prototype and test things and do whatever it is that we're going to do. Now, I wanted to work out a system so that I could set up my kinetic generator, and you can see the kinetic generator is right here. with the wind turbine attached to it already so that I could gather the power that it's generating in bluelectric batteries, which you can see right here. And I've got just a 3-block length of stone jacketed blue wire carrying the current, as well as extract the charged BT batteries, right? There's the bluelectric batteries like the battery box, and then you've got the BT batteries, which are like the rechargeable batteries. Charge those up in the battery boxes, pull the charged ones out, send empty ones back into this sort of mechanism, into the batteries to charge them up. You know the cycle. We've covered the cycle in various different projects before. And additionally, I wanted to be able to send new wind turbines to the kinetic generators as needed. So if I switch on the old Gravasuit fly mode, you can see here I've got a pipe leading directly into the kinetic generator, and I did test to make sure that you can pull turbines out and put them in with the pipe, and it's possible. There's only one inventory slot in the machine, so it doesn't really matter. It didn't seem to matter where it connected to or from. Probably going to have to paint some of these tubes just to keep them distinct. I wanted something as compact as possible because they're actually going to be obviously on the outside. You can see right now we're at y equals 5, I think. Sorry, y equals 2. This thing's not moving because we're basically indoors and we're nowhere near high enough. So obviously when we set this thing up, it's going to be outside. And I don't want this big gaudy eyesore mechanism. You can see this with the wind turbine gone so that it's not so much of a distraction. You can see it's reasonably compact, I think, for what it's doing. I want to be able to extract energy as fast as this thing is able to produce it. So we're going to test initially with 4 bluelectric batteries, and if we have to expand, we can easily throw in a couple more right there and just use covers similar to what you see here to keep them from connecting to the side of the kinetic engine or kinetic generator. And we'll see how it goes. So we're going to get one into place because right now I don't have any machines in my facility. All of this was borrowed from my facility in the previous world because I'm waiting to get the bluelectric power generation into place before I start making any big deal decisions about what kind of machines I'm going to use and where I'm going to put them and things of that nature. So we're going to head upstairs, if you can call it that. We're actually going to go outside. I'm going to take a look at me going up into a hole in the ceiling. We'll just turn that off. We're going to go take a look at what I've done up to this point just to kind of get a sort of a layout in place for the wind turbines that we're going to have, because obviously, like I said, we're going to have more than one. I should know better than to leave these doors open. You can see up here, you can see I've got sort of these towers just roughly spotted into place. I kind of wanted very, very simply to get a feel for the aesthetic, how it would look. And it kind of reminded me of like the sails on those dinosaurs that had like the big spine thingy on their back. So that's kind of where it got its name. You can see I was messing around with iron bars for a bit more of an aesthetic sort of thing. And now as long as I've spaced them properly, and I actually have to go through this whole thing and double check to make sure that I did, this should be good to go. Now as far as spacing, I need 3 blocks for each side of the turbine, so I think we barely left enough room up here, but I think towards the back there they actually inadvertently got a little bit closer together, which means we'll have to double check and potentially move some of these pillars. But we've got plenty to get started with, so let's switch camera views and get down to the business of getting the first one into place. Little did I know just how much pillar moving was actually going to take place. Now, if you look at the clouds are usually pretty reliably situated at height 128, which is where I decided to start this and just see how the generator would perform. This is why I wasn't necessarily too bothered by the fact that I only have the one generator. Messing around with aesthetics, messing around with the layout of the design, and then I put the turbine in place, and it barely moves at all. Keep in mind, this is 10 times normal speed. This is the time-lapse part of it, and if you were watching it in game, you'd have to like watch it with something in the background to compare it to, just so that you could see that it is in fact moving a little bit, because it wasn't noticeable to the naked eye that it was moving at all. You could see the rain is falling, but it doesn't actually fall where the generator is. So my only option is either move it entirely or raise it up. So you can see I raised it up. We're quite a bit higher above the clouds now. Kind of looking down, you can see them passing over where we were before. Get it into place, and it almost immediately you can see a dramatic difference in how fast it starts turning. So I just kind of stand on the other pole and keep an eye on how high the little indicator on the user interface for the generator is going, as well as how quickly it's charging the blulectric batteries, which at this point even is not all that quickly. Like, it's noticeable, you can see the bars moving around, but it wasn't really as fast as I might have liked it. So I decided to just let it run for a little while and then work on the layout for extending this whole thing backwards. I wanted sort of one tube network feeding the rechargeable batteries and the replacement turbines, as opposed to a bunch of individual modules where I would have had to spend a lot of materials on ender chest and stuff like that duplicating it. So I kind of got that set up and then realized, yeah, we're going to go as high as we can. I read somewhere that it's been tested. There's no benefit to building above 192 with the turbines. So that's what I did. I built it up to 192, and we got rid of the pillars altogether. I figured at this point, there's no salvaging the concept. We're not going to be able to make, you know, any kind of dinosaur sail along the back of the mountain or anything like that. So this was mostly about getting it up in the air, seeing how quickly it would generate power, and then setting it up with the ender chest to cycle the rechargeable batteries through the system, which I forgot the filter that I put in there that's supposed to be feeding the replacement turbines was just going to spit out all of the batteries. So I had to go all the way back down to the mountain, pick up the batteries, and try again, which was, it was great. It was awesome. Sometimes those things happen though. So we got it working. It's generating a decent amount of power. It'll be generating, of course, even more power once I get the rest of the generators in. And it looks, from the ground, it looks like something with the turbine. That's the easiest way to put it. Once I got that up and running, basically I'm looking at that as sort of proof of concept. I needed to get some machines going, because up until this point, I've been using the stuff I brought with me from my other worlds, and I kind of decided, okay, we've milked that about as far as I think is reasonable. So now I need to, you know, start relying on what I'm able to produce in this world, which means I need some pulverizers. There's no more getting around it. I've got all kinds of ore, but I don't want to be smelting it all and just getting the one ingot out of each ore block. So first order of business, get a pulverizer in place, get it up and running, give it, you know, make sure it's got some energy, and then we can build the rest of the blocks that we need, the generators and the motors, to keep our system going. And I think we should be okay. We've got plenty of flax coming in for this string, make all the turbines that we need, and now it's just a matter of getting a place set up where we can put our machines. One of the things that I kind of thought of is I've got all this glass all the way around the mountain, providing the great or not so great mountain view. Why would I want to build up walls of machines blocking off the view? So I decided to make a machine pit instead of a machine wall, which is basically a machine wall that's recessed into the ground. And there's my pulverizer that I made with the materials that I gathered in this world, being powered by the redstone energy conduit that I brought from the other world, along with the redstone energy cell. And then I decided, you know what would be really fun? Let's play Greg Tech. Look at us watch those machines. Time lapse even. This is 10 times real time. We're having 10 times the fun in real life. And that's as far as I got. I was all Greg teched out. So that's about as far as we're going to go with this episode. You can see I'm going to put some blulectric battery boxes in place here and charge them up with the rechargeable batteries from way up in the sky. And then in the next episode, hopefully we'll have enough machines in place. We'll get some more generators in. We'll get the blulectric motors generating the Minecraft jewels for us. And then I think we'll start looking, if all of that works out well, we'll start looking towards getting our quarries set up, which may or may not be viable depending on how many diamonds that I find. So I hope this was entertaining and or informative for you. Leave your comments and suggestions in the comments box below the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.